to do this bloom watercolor, you should have some supplies in your kit. The canvas, a watercolor brush, and your paint pots, which may or may not be dry. It's okay if they are. Those actually come from some Winsor & Newton watercolor paints. It's burnt umber, terra verte, and lemon yellow. And a little bit of an eyedropper for some water. You also might want to get some kind of a plastic coated paper plate, and you'll definitely need some fresh water. So I'm going to start by taking some water and loosening up these watercolors. I'm actually putting in 2 drops. Used a line. So for this one, I wanted to make it kind of like a sepia-based painting. So I only have 3 colors, and we're just going to mix them, and they will comprise the entire painting. When you do watercolors, you build up colors, so it's more of a from light to dark. You don't put in the darkest colors first, because once you get rid of white, you don't have it anymore. So just mixing my paint around. I don't want a big glob of it on the end. Something else you might want to have is some paper towels. I like to blot on paper towels as I'm painting. And I'm just taking it and I'm just filling in. So I'm going to make these, and it's going to dry quite a bit. And you don't have to fill the whole thing in. That's the neat thing about watercolors, is we already have the shape in pencil. So you can leave where you think white might be. I wanted to do that so that you could see it. I actually am going to make these flowers yellow. But the yellow is going to be a little bit trickier to see. And if it comes on too dark, got a whole bunch of paint on there. Oh no, that's good. See, I'm just taking 1 or 2 strokes inside the petals. Got another one over here. So you don't want it to just be a flat yellow. So I'm actually going to take a little of this burnt sienna and I'm going to put it up close to the top, and look what happens. Just gives it a little bit more oomph. I'm just taking a drop and putting it in there. Up here close to the seeds. Ooh, I like that. All right. I'm gonna wash my burns out a little bit because I have all this yellow on it. I'm going to reserve my blue for the water, but I am going to make a little bit of green. So all of these flowers are going to be combinations of, this one I'm going to let go darker. And actually I'm just following the pencil lines. There's a little bit of unmixed up paint in the bottom there. for this one, I'm going to do a combination of the burnt sienna and the yellow. I'm actually going to mix it. See what I do? I can pick up water onto my brush from the painting if I get too much. I like that too. On these little flowers up here, I'm going to get back into that kind of darker, and I'm going to do the same thing. So they're all a little bit of a different color. All right, so you want to kind of stick them there and then let them dry. So we're going to move on to something else. We're going to move on to the leaves. This is where your paper palette will come in handy. I'm going to take a little bit of this blue. I want to keep these colors undiluted, so I'm mixing somewhere else. Oh, there we go. It's a nice kind of green. You can add your dropper to get some water, because you have to have enough to get all the leaves. All right. And you know what? Don't feel like you have to completely be in the lines. I mean, this is kind of a rough drawing, and that's okay. Oh, that's a flower we forgot right there. Ooh. So I got a little into that flower. I'm gonna use my paper towel. We'll do that flower or that leaf later. Be careful of that one too. Right there. Oh, very cute. You can actually move a little bit onto the blue. And here I'm just, where there's markings, I'm just kind of putting a little blue on. Because it's a glass jar, so you don't actually see the color everywhere. Alright, and we're kind of at a spot where we're going to have to let it dry a little bit before we can go on. You can gently use a hairdryer, or you can just let it air dry. And when we get back, we will add some more colors, make sure they don't bleed together. And I'll see you in a couple minutes. It's pretty dry. There's just a couple leaves that aren't dry at this point. So I do want to add in a little bit darker with the blue. The water. I wouldn't go over the letters completely, but see there, I got a little bit too much paint and not enough water. So I grabbed a little water on my brush and I'm going to spread it out. And I'm going to kind of concentrate all the paint on this side of the glass jar. It'll help it look like it's a rounded. A little water on my brush. There, like that. You can always, this is wet on wet, you add a little bit of paint into an already wet area, and then you kind of just let it flow where it wants. So this is all wet already. I'm concentrating on this side, but it's going to move across. Same with up here. This is already wet. I'm just putting it into where I want it, and then it will move kind of on its own to areas that have more water and less paint. We don't want to mess him down there anymore. We are going to keep going with our flowers. So now I'm just adding a little bit of, they have a little bit of a shape to them, so I'm sort of just trying to pick that up. Which one? I forgot one down here somewhere. I knew that I did. There we go. I'm actually going to add, I think, it's kind of good to have all your colors throughout your painting. I'm going to add a little of this blue. Here in my sunflower-ish. It's really just a layering of colors. So I'm starting at close up here to the pod and then letting it go. All right, so this is actually a darker brown. And I'm just going to dot it in. That one wanted to escape, but that's okay. See, I got a couple dribbles, but that's okay. I'm gonna work with it. We'll leave them there for now. I'll make a little bit maybe darker green. Add to some of these. Going over them again gives them a darker color. It'll be the same color, but it'll just be a little bit darker. You don't have to do all of them. The center of this one, I think I want to do a combination of the blue. Let's see how dark I can get it. Some of this green. Alright, I'm also going to do my stems. An easy way to do that, to keep the very skinny point, is as you take this out, roll your paintbrush, and you can roll it to a point. thing you need to know about watercolors is they kind of do their own thing. So whenever you have a little bit of an accident like my dots here, we're just going to turn that into something else. And I'm not being as careful down here because it's looking through the glass, so it's not going to be a perfect thing. It's going to kind of be hazy, and it's okay. One thing I am going to do is to kind of center this so it looks like it's not just floating in space. I got a lot of water and the green. You can kind of use whatever color you want. But I'm just going to the side here. About up to there. It's going to come out further along here. And let's see, let's use a little brown so you can see it. I'm kind of giving it a little bit of a shadow. It doesn't need one on that side, but it needs one on this side. See, throwing a little wet in there. I'm using the color close up to it, and then it's going to disperse out. It's a little too much white for me. Since I have these dots here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make kind of a combination of colors. Get some water on here. And I'm going to flick it onto the canvas. It's a technique they use quite a bit. Yeah, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But since I spilled here, I really need to make it look like that was on purpose. I think I'm going to do a little blue too. There. Now we're going to let this dry one more time. And then I'll show you. You can be finished at this point, but make sure you sign it. But I'll show you one more thing we can do to kind of make things really pop out. Now, once that your painting is dry, you can just leave it like that. You don't have to go in with ink. I am using a, this is my pen. It's called the Stabilo .88. It's a fine point, 0.4 point. But you could just use an ink pen if you don't have a marker like this. But do use something that has a fine point. And I'm going to go in and kind of reinforce these lines. It doesn't have to be exactly over the pencil. And maybe we don't see the back ones quite as clearly as the ones that are right up front. You know, and I don't think I'm going to do the water. or the things that are back behind. Maybe I'll do just a little bit. That way you know that it's a different part of it. I'm going to go in and make some little round parts in these. Can you see the difference? I like that. Same with here. Just making little circles. This is the details. This is kind of what makes your painting really pop. In this one, I'm only going to go along the darkest parts because I want it to be kind of dainty. I'll try and stay out of that light stuff. I don't want to do a whole lot to these. Some of my leaves they missed their bits. And you don't have to do every single one either. And just kind of grab one here and there. I like that. All right. Pretty up my words. And we are done. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of watercolor, and you've now got a couple paints and a brush, and grab you some watercolor paper and try something else. Thanks.